and this is another wrestling podcast, guys. So, Jonathan, man, this is episode 298. Can you believe it? 298 episodes.
I can't. We've come a long way. I remember our first episode, which was you interviewing some people from a con that you went to, I believe in either Massachusetts or Rhode Island.
Yeah, it was Rhode Island. It was oh man, Joseph Bruin's little convention out there.
Sure.
It was a good time, man. No,
Yeah.
dude. So we're almost at 300. Regardless, we're getting there. We'll have to do something special for our big 300, but we're still 2 episodes behind. Guys, and if you're joining us for the first time, we like to talk anything and everything wrestling, right? Mainly, it's a lot of WWE lately, a lot of ACW too for our local promotion, hometown company, but it's mainly WWE stuff. And we'll try to dabble into other stuff, but I guess it's safe to say, Jonathan, we're a WWE podcast, if you will, for the 90% part.
Sure.
But with a lot of things going on, man, it is the road to WrestleMania. We're on that road, the coveted road to the grandest stage of them all. And, a lot of things are happening that maybe aren't planned. And I think the biggest thing we could get right into is the whole Bron Breakker, man. Without being a doctor, going too much into what happened, he had emergency hernia surgery this week, and people are speculating online. A lot of people are like, "Oh, that's why he didn't win the Rumble," or some people are saying, "No, it's he lifted that table on Raw, and that's when he threw out his back or did something to where he hurt something." And I'm like, those tables are like light, you know what I mean? Like they're like little, they're not like your regular old school wooden table. Like it's I don't know. It could have happened from that, but what are your thoughts on this? Because out indefinitely, I
I
don't,
mean,
this isn't. Is he off
my
the road?
my question to you too would be: is he injured? Like this is what they're doing now. I mean, like we saw it with Rollins, and obviously they can't keep doing that over and over to where like someone gets injured and then they fake an injury or whatever. So I mean, I'm assuming it's a legitimate injury. I also don't know a lot about hernias, but I would say that anything that requires emergency surgery, we're not likely to see him back shortly unless there is a big thing for him to like come out and interfere at Mania. I mean, we saw it happen with Cena once where he got injured. They gave a timeline that was like 6 to 8 months, and then Cena came back much earlier than that. So you hate to see it. It feels like this is this thing with the Vision is a little cursed, based on what we've seen with Rollins and now Braun. So it would have been nice to see some sort of payoff with him at Mania, but
Yeah.
I mean he's young. He's going to be there for forever now. So
No, the show must go on. The old cliche saying, right? Things happen. In the past, people are like thinking because okay, now that we've seen on Unreal with Seth Rollins faking his injury just to come back and make it a whole big thing. Now it's like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? And for this, I think the writing's on the wall to where I personally feel like something might have happened around the Rumble for them to kind of change things around because I feel like that's a really big drastic change for him not even to enter the Rumble. I get it; they got some stories to tell here and there, but I feel like I don't know, right? In my personal belief, something might have came up like, "Hey, you got something going on. I don't know if you're going to be able to wrestle this full match, so we'll get you in, we'll get you out, and then we'll see what we need to do." And then a week later they realize it's probably a lot worse than what it was, and so he needed emergency surgery. Like I said, I don't know, this is all speculation, but it is what it is. This is what happens. These guys are athletes, they're on the road all year long, hurting themselves, and unfortunately, even though it's the road to WrestleMania, things happen, right? So
there's some speed bumps.
there is some speed bumps, man. If I could read this little thing, this little report with Triple H, he's facing some internal criticism over changing WrestleMania plans. I think speaking on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer, good old Dave, he revealed that the advance to WrestleMania 42 is down apparently approximately 18% compared to last year, while he expects the event to eventually sell out. The current numbers have caused disappointment among officials. Um, Granted, this is the dirt sheets, right? Take it for a grain of salt. I don't think it has anything to do with the card shaping up. I think it has to do with how much these events cost, and especially how much WrestleMania costs. There's all this stuff going around to where people can't even have WrestleMania parties within like a 50-mile radius because they want those people to go to the actual show. And we've talked a little bit about like prices and how much these tickets are costing nowadays. And I feel like that's a big thing right there. Like, I mean, if I'm going to take my family to afford to go to a wrestling event and it costs over $5,000, like I'd rather just go to Disney World. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'd rather ride the Matterhorn or whatever.
Yep.
Or Space Mountain. But it's expensive, man. And I get it. If you're single, you don't have kids or whatever, and you can afford it. Hats off to you. Go to it, man. Have fun. But like when you're promoting yourself as a family event and all this other stuff, and you can't even have decent tickets for families, it's I don't know, it's too much of a spectacle. So people are saying a lot of these, is it the prices that are not selling these seats? Is it that there's really no card that's selling these seats? And granted, Jonathan, you've gone to WrestleManias. These tickets go on sale in November, right
Yeah.
before Christmas. So even with no card announced, then people are buying it because it's just WrestleMania. So I
Yeah.
feel like it has no factor into it. People are going to go because of what it is, regardless of a card or not. But we just had our first match. We got Roman and Punk, we talked about last week, and that's it so far, kind of. I know there's some writing on the walls for a lot of other stuff, but I feel like people reporting that it's the card shaping up, uh, I don't know. I can't be that. But even, Jonathan, if we can get into like this injury and how things are, we have no solid plans yet for WrestleMania 42, that anything can still happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, after the Rumble, you know, we've been taught or told or whatever that they start booking, next year's WrestleMania the day after WrestleMania, right?
Yeah.
So I think that things change. I think that there's been injuries. I think that all that's happened, but I am a little concerned. I mean, obviously, I know that they'll throw something together, but Rumble gave us a Roman victory, so we knew at least Roman was there. Elimination Chamber will give us, another name to go against Drew. I know the women, Liv won. She's gonna pick who she wants to go against, and then same thing with Elimination Chamber. But not only that, like I would have figured that we would have had an intercontinental title match set in stone or a US championship set in stone, tag teams, like it's really kind of wild. I think we're in February. We're 2 months out.
Yeah.
Like
And so you got to plan 2 days. It's not just one day anymore, right? So we're doing 2 full days.
so
And yeah.
yeah, I mean I expect it to happen, but if let's say that I'm a casual fan or I'm a fan that wants to really go see WrestleMania, granted, Punk and Roman's a big match, but it's not that buildup that we had with the finishing the story.
Yeah.
It's just Punk says, you want to beat the best, you have to beat me, and Roman says, I hate you, and that's why I'm going to beat you. Like
Mhm.
that's, I mean, I like it. I thought it was really well done, but I'm not the only thing right now, and I know we're going to talk about it here in a little bit. The only thing that's like giving me any kind of I wonder what's going to happen with this is the whole Vision storyline, especially with the masked men. So
No, yeah, there's a lot of variables, right? But I feel like when it comes down to it, people have to understand it has nothing to do with the card right now. I don't think people are being like, "Oh, there's no card. I'm not buying it." These tickets going on have been on sale since November, so it's like they don't need a card, right? They just want to go to WrestleMania. Granted, we're now that we're out of the Rumble, like we should be full steam ahead of like this is a Mania match. This is a Mania match. Start planning
yeah,
like let's get right to it. And I feel like there's a little bit of a stumbling going on. Okay, so if Braun is out to where he looked like a good contender to being in one of these main events, I would have thought, out of anybody, right? Like he could have won the Royal Rumble to main event WrestleMania. He is on that trajectory. But things happen, I guess. And I still feel that CM Punk Roman Reigns match is one of the best matches I think they can have announced. Like that's I definitely it's a star power match, right? Like the two of the biggest names in over 20 years. I feel like these two having a match together at WrestleMania on night 2 will be amazing. But what's to come? I don't know, man. There are a lot of things are happening. There's stuff going on too with Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, to where he's not really in a title picture just yet. Could that be end up being like a 3-way or what? And I one of the things that we talked about the other night, I want to bring up is Finn Bálor.
Sure.
Finn Bálor heading into Mania season, and I was texting you the other night, and I'm like, what were your thoughts on this promo? Because I'm like, he was left off of the Rumble, still had a story going, wants to still prove himself, wants to, he fought Punk. Now he's going to fight Punk at the Elimination Chamber, maybe, or he's going to fight him on Raw soon, or what, for another match. And I'm like, I can't help but think to where could this match, could Punk and Roman Reigns be turned into a 3-way, or is that, am I overthinking it too much? Like, they're giving him this story to kind of like find himself back in that main event spot, yet he still hasn't found it. And I'm like, how are they gonna, is this can't just lead up to a match against Dominic Mysterio at what I mean? Like, for what he's doing and calling out Punk and having this match before Mania. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on Finn Bálor? Like, I feel like, are they finally trying to get him back into that main event status, to where, he came in with guns blazing, won the Universal Championship, lost it, right after that, after getting injured, and then kind of just never was looked at the same, and, in the same aspect. And I don't know, was that like a Vince thing? They were like, oh, I just gave him the championship and he's out already, or what? Like, how did we get Finn Bálor back to that top level superstar?
I think it's very interesting because Finn Bálor, if anybody was to start a promotion tomorrow, like, he'd be one of the guys that you would want, right? Like, he's had some injuries, but like no more really than anybody else who's wrestling, how many ever nights a year. But I'm a big Finn Bálor fan. I think that he definitely should be in a title hunt at least. And with this, it feels like they're just using it to get to Mania. Like,
Yeah.
they had to feed Punk
It's a
somebody.
roadblock. It's the
Yeah, yeah,
roadblock
like,
in wrestling. Remember that old paper?
yeah. I mean, like, I
I
wish
know.
that they would have. I honestly wish that if this, it makes total sense why they had Finn fight him over in Ireland, like, or that makes sense, right? But to then kind of resurrect it, it was a story at the beginning that was like, hey, I'm Finn, you're Punk, like, we're two of the best in the world, so let's see what happens. And now they're almost like creating a story out of nothing. Okay, you didn't win, so I'm gonna just ask for a rematch and get it. So yeah, I hope that there is something much bigger down the line for Finn, because unfortunately what we're seeing is a lot of the top talent retiring. We got Cena out, we got AJ out now. We have a lot of the other talent that's kind of displaced right now. Doesn't, you don't really know what they're doing. There's only so much room at the top for these matches. So I get, that's why I kind of liked in the old days when they had Money in the Bank at Mania, because you could put 6 guys in that match, 6 top guys in that match, and they would walk away with somebody being elevated.
Yeah.
And I mean, I almost wish that that was the case now, because poor Finn around Mania time, it may end up being him versus Dom, but then are you going to have Dom lose? I doubt it. Like,
I know. Yeah, and for him to go back to like an IC championship, I'm like, he's been talking about the world title. He wants to be a world title. So,
yep.
I would, I'm a big Finn Balor fan, right? I love Finn Balor. I got the shirts, I got the merch. I loved what they did with him in NXT, but it was like one of those transition periods to where when he came to the main roster, yeah. Is it a Vince thing? Was it a Triple H thing? Because Triple H pushed him to the moon, and he was great with what he was doing. They kind of teased us with his old entrance in
Yeah.
Ireland with the whole, that's, the crowd loved it. The crowd's into
Yep.
it. Keep doing that. And so for me, all these backstage segments, all these things leading up to where I want another match, I want to redo, I want another shot at this. I'm almost like, are they, now this all goes back to the road to WrestleMania. I'm like, I'm trying to think of all these things that they're giving us. They're feeding us to like Michael Cole, he's like kind of talking down to Punk, like, why would you do that to your why would you address Finn Balor, or why would you even do this to your main event? It's like a dad talking to his son, like, why would you do this to yourself? And I'm like, Michael Cole, man, just do the interview. Don't like what you're giving him like dad advice now. And I'm like, to me, like every week it's been he should be in the world title picture. He should be doing the world title. They didn't have room for him at the Rumble. Does it get to this boiling point of like Finn Balor brings back the demon, or are they could they make this championship match into a three-way, or does that, like, okay, let's say Finn Balor walks out with the WWE championship at Elimination Chamber. Now we're going to get Finn versus Punk versus Roman. That's an awesome match too. And if that happens, is it just to get Punk to win it at Mania? You know what I mean? To where I don't see Roman out of all this winning. I feel like Roman's coming in kind of like doing like victory laps now, you know what I mean? Helping putting over some matches, helping do some things here, but like he doesn't need to ride with the championship for like months on end to where he's done all that. I mean, I think he's breaking the record this year for like main events in a WrestleMania or something to that effect, to where I think he surpasses Hulk Hogan now. So that in itself, he doesn't need to do anything else. He doesn't need to do anything else. He's in the main events. He has that title now of all these main events under his belt. So I don't know, man, to where would you be upset if they interjected Finn Balor into this main event match? Do you see anything? Do you see them possibly giving the championship to him and then Punk winning it back at Mania? Or is that like a slap in the face of whatnot? Or I don't know.
I don't think they'll make it a triple threat, because I really think your marquee is Punk versus Roman. And historically, and take this for what it's worth, historically, we've been told that a triple threat usually happens when they lack confidence in like the two people going against, like that's not going to be a big draw. So like if you had LA Knight versus Damian Priest at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship, they may be like, well, I don't think that's going to sell pay-per-views, but if we interject Roman, then yeah, maybe people will come out to that. So I really just think that this is a like stop the bleed, so to speak, for Elimination Chamber. They want it's Chicago, so they have to have Punk on the card. So they're not going to have Punk versus Roman because that's the next month. So I think they're like, who is it? And honestly, it could have been AJ if AJ hadn't retired, like AJ versus Punk again, or so I think that this is just classic what we've seen before, in the sense of it's really just give us something to get us to the next spot.
Yeah, I hear you. Definitely the writing is on the wall for that, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel bad for Finn because like if he just does this, where does he get put after Mania? And I like, for me, as a fan, I would love to see him kind of interjected into this match as like the demon, like his old classic. He doesn't have to do, I don't know, just body paint or something. Give him like what he used to do. But I mean, I don't know, man. To me, I'm just a Finn Balor fan, but I'm also CM Punk fan. I love what Roman Reigns is doing, and it's a head scratcher because it's like there is a lot of stuff that's being changed right now, especially with like an injured Bron Breakker. So it's like, how can we give them the best main event or the best matches? And for me, at the end of the day, it's like, how can we still keep Finn Balor elevated? And I would like to see a win. If he gets the championship at the Elimination Chamber, I think it kind of adds a little bit of intrigue going into Mania, to where now, okay, it's a triple threat with Balor walking in as champion. And then at the end of the day, no matter what, even if that doesn't happen and it's CM Punk and Roman Reigns, I still see Punk either walks in and walks out, or he walks in to reclaim from Balor if that happens. So I don't know. This is all what ifs and special fantasy booking and stuff, but that's kind of like what I'm seeing right now, to where, especially from the Rumble, when we saw him saying like, oh, he couldn't, there's no room for him. And then you see like La Parka come back and we're like, what is okay? You had no room for Finn, but this is what you have. So I don't know. I'm kind of curious what everybody else thinks about that, because, I'm a fan of all these guys. So it's just been one thing going on. You did mention the mystery man that's been happening. Can you kind of like remind people about like what's been going on with this? I think it's since the Rumble, right? We've seen this mystery guy.
Yeah, so I mean, for Rumble, Braun was about to come out. He was attacked by the mystery man. There was a lot of speculation just based on the body structure of this person, that it could have been Logan Paul, um, who later came out into the Rumble. But this all started with War Games whenever this person came out and curb stomped somebody, and then we find out a couple weeks later that it was Austin Theory. So, but Austin Theory came out in the Rumble too, so it can't be Austin Theory, right? So there's been this speculation, who is it? Everyone's saying maybe it's Seth Rollins, maybe it's Logan Paul. And then on Raw for the main event, they were trying to find the next person to go into the uh Elimination Chamber,
Yep.
and Austin Theory was now attacked. And what I really thought was going to happen to begin this, before Braun got injured, obviously, is that Rollins was kind of creating his own vision to combat the vision that kicked him out,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So I thought that Austin Theory was kind of like a mole back in the day, that like he came in and then maybe someone else was going to come in, and then it would be like Seth's vision versus Paul Heyman's vision. So
Mhm.
now it now that Austin Theory got attacked, it's less likely that they're going with Austin being part of that, the Rollins vision or whatever. What I do hope happens, because I will say that if you look at where Bronson Reed was prior to joining the vision, and even to a certain extent where Bron Breakker was prior to joining the vision, I do think all parties have been elevated.
Mhm.
Even Logan Paul and now Austin Theory, because Austin was kind of floating and whatever. But what I'm hoping is, if they do this, that we do get some sort of elevation of new people. So, there's been speculation that the masked man is going to be Rollins or Jericho or something like that. I would rather it be someone from the NXT system, or someone who's floundering in WWE that just needs like a push. Like, would it be great to see like a Ethan Page from NXT, or a Joe? I mean, like if you want to bring Joe Hendry up to the main roster, or I'm a big fan of closing the loop, and I would really
Sure.
like to see there be a reason why we're doing all this. But I will say that in absence of the bloodline storyline and other things like this, it just so happens that I am interested in what happens here, and I think there's a thread that we can look at in this, and it's Paul Heyman. Like Paul
Yep.
Heyman, I think had a big part of the vision, and I mean a big part of the bloodline, and now we're seeing that again with the vision. So I don't know if it's just that he can sell it to us or what, but anytime that Heyman is involved in something, I tend to find myself very interested in what the outcome's going to be.
No, yeah, and, a lot of the motions have kind of looked like it's Seth Rollins, right? But then I'm like, Seth got injured so bad that they had to change plans like last minute, and like it seemed like it was so bad that they really had to scrap a lot of the plans, and for them to like for this to be Seth Rollins, I feel like it's another slap of the fans' face, because he did the fake injury already, and then he was injured, and then they were like, "Oh man, we really have to change things out because he's probably not going to be back for a few months." To kind of like, I think they're trying to fool you, right? So they're like, "Oh, look, he's doing Seth Rollins curb stomp, and it's him, it's him." Some people have said that could be like a Grayson Waller. He was teaming with Austin Theory, doing some stuff before that, but it was kind of like in the background, right? It was kind of like, yeah, they're doing stuff, but they're not really being showcased anymore. So this kind of gives him a breath of fresh air. They were pretty big on him from NXT to coming over here, but once again, they didn't really have anything for him to do when he came over. So he kind of like floundered in the back, right? So something with him, it's almost like, yeah, I feel like you're getting like this breakout faction, if you will, of the vision, to where it's like another group within that group. But once again, man, I feel like so many things have changed over the past few weeks, especially now with Bron Breakker again. Just to say it again, it's like maybe even these plans have changed. So now they're like, okay, since he's going to be out, now we could do this and bring him in and yada yada yada. So a lot of speculation. I hope it's just really ridiculous in the pro wrestling world to where like they reveal the mask and it's like Obafemi, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, this guy doesn't match the body. Like if they're gonna have a little one with the fans, like that'd be hilarious. But no, who knows, man? It does leave some intrigue of like who's doing what and what's gonna happen. So
I will.
yeah.
I'll say too, like it's a good vehicle to get someone over or whatever, but you know, I my thought is we've seen Logan Paul somewhat take a step up, like 2 Raws ago before Braun got injured. He was kind of like, tonight, someone's going to get a chance to go, or in the Royal Rumble, one of the Vision's going to win, and I think it should be. And there's like this pregnant pause, like, who's it going to be? Who's he going to say? Is he going to say himself because he's conceited or whatever? And he's like, Bron Breakker, and then he kind of showed some attitude to Adam Pearce on Monday. He was basically like in his face saying, like, if you don't like it, what are you going to do about it? Whatever. Like, I do think he's the next natural person to, because obviously people dislike him. And, I think that he's like the next natural person to maybe, he was behind this all along, like,
Yep.
and I think, again, it's the water cooler talk, like you and I are talking about it right now. So
Yeah.
it's doing its job. It's doing its job. Unfortunately, it's about the only thing that I find that's doing its job right now.
Yeah.
So,
No, man, it's a tough road right now. And like this little thing here to where what's that gonna lead to come Mania? Like, is it gonna be a break off of this faction and then you're gonna have like, these guys go against themselves in a way, especially with the absence of Braun. But let's talk about some of this elimination chamber stuff going on. So we had some qualifying matches happening that are shaping what's going to happen. Now in the past too, like the elimination chamber has awarded a champion. I remember Bray Wyatt winning the championship at Elimination Chamber going into Mania, but that's not the case this year. So, have they said I don't know. Have they said the speculations of like the Elimination Chamber? Like, is it? Do you become the number one contender, or what is it shaping up to be
yeah, I
again?
think it's basically whoever wins this gets to go against Drew at
Yeah.
Mania. Yeah. And
All right.
yeah, and we've had 2 qualifying matches right now. I mean, as of us talking about this right now, one on SmackDown last week and one on Raw this week, and that's one thing I have a gripe about. So I'm standing on a soapbox here, but give me 3 if you're gonna do these triple threat matches.
Yep.
Give me 3 people that I'm like, yeah, that person could win the championship. Don't give me no. Listen, when I say what I'm about to say,
Oh.
I'm prefacing this. I'm a huge Kit Wilson fan, right?
Uh-huh.
But don't say we're going to put Randy Orton, Kit Wilson, and uh, Zack Ryder in a match for the Elimination Chamber and me be like, gee, I wonder who's going to win this match.
Yep.
So, you know, make it a little bit more believable for me. Like, there's always like one person in these matches that right off the bat you can be like, yeah, they're not winning. Like, so
Yep.
I I wish they would get to that. I wish they would understand. And I get it. They don't want certain people to lose and blah blah blah. But like, if I am to suspend disbelief, I can only do it so far. I'm not going to be like, oh, there's a new rookie on NXT who's now in this title match, and I bet he wins it.
No, I hear you, man. It's and I feel like even on that end too, where I feel like we should have had this more in the bag of another marquee matchup for your night one or whatnot, or whatever it's going to be. But with Cody Rhodes, and the Samoan Werewolf, all part of this, to where it's almost like all right, is this Elimination Chamber going to have a good ending kind of a thing? Or are we going to, is it going to somehow be, these two guys will be going against Drew McIntyre or whatnot? So I don't know, man. It's like I said, a lot of things aren't set in stone, and I feel like we should be a little bit farther ahead than where we are. So,
I I will
um,
say one thing that could like a situation that I would like to see. I think for the past couple of years they've teased a little bit just because Cody and Randy have such a good relationship that they have kind of teased that there would be some like a fight like between the two of them. And I could almost see either Randy eliminating Cody from Elimination Chamber or Cody eliminating Randy, causing that to be like a match at Mania, which would
sure.
be a great match. It just wouldn't be for the belt. And then maybe giving the opportunity for like a Jacob Fatu to go against Drew at Mania. I could see something like that happening. Or finally, letting LA Knight go. Like I just I don't know. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like how we were talking about Finn Balor earlier, if
Yep.
LA Knight gets like close to the opportunity one more time and doesn't win, like I if I were him, I would just be like, all right, I'm done. Like I'm out.
No, and yeah, I feel like this match is going to be LA Knight winning it, kind of a thing. And I was while you were talking, I was trying to think because even recently, this whole Cody Rhodes not in the main event, I feel it was his decision and Drew's or something to where like that's why they wanted to get the title off of Cody to kind of like and breathe some more life into the WWE Championship going into Mania. And it's almost like Cody not being in this picture this year. It's the first time in 3 years now that he wouldn't be kind of like main eventing or being. He's the top, he's one of their top guys, so it's like for him not to have one of the top marquee matches, um, could be a shame, too, for him to where it's like okay, if you put him up against Randy, okay, but I feel like he's done a lot more to get a lot more. And I'm not saying for him to go into WrestleMania and win it and win the championship. I'm just like, does he need to be in that championship picture anymore, or is he like kind of? Is it getting too much? Is it getting too boring to seeing him always in that spot? Or, we had like the greatest run for him for 2 years where he went into Mania, didn't win, and then went all the way through Mania to finish the story, and then they kind of like, all right, let's keep riding this as long as we can, and we're at the is it stale part of the port a part of this now? Is his whole run is it just stale now?
Yeah.
Um, or it's like, but for me, and as I'm just thinking as I'm talking to it, I'm like not having him in this title or this main event picture in the match itself. Is it like it's not a demotion, but it's just like is it a step back for him to where was it needed? Um, because yeah, I don't know. I like I'm just trying to think of how they're gonna make this main event match. Because okay, if you say LA Knight wins that chamber, and now it's LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre, is that a good enough match? Is that it? Is that all you need, or does this need a Cody and a Jacob Fatu as a 4-way, like just to have a little bit more excitement into it, or is that not even needed? Do you think out of this, whatever happens over the next few weeks, do you think a one-on-one title match versus Drew McIntyre, whomever it is the right call, or does this need a little bit more
Well, I
beef?
I mean, I guess this is the thing too, is like you could look back in the older manias and there would be like one main event and there would be a tag team match. Like basically it was kind of almost like Night of Champions, how every belt would be on the line.
Yeah,
But now I feel like because it's two nights, they have to fill so much. But like, we're getting about four matches per night. So that I mean, WrestleMania could be a different story, but like, let's say that you have so that's 8 matches. So let's just go with that. So two men's championship matches, two women's championship matches. That's four right there. So that's half your card right there.
yeah, yeah,
So what else can you do to be like a marquee match? And back in the day, like, I'm not for a gimmick match, so to speak, just for gimmick match's sake.
Right.
But you've got Punk versus Roman, which really doesn't need anything. But you've got Drew versus whatever. Well, now instead of having the Elimination Chamber, they could have done something to where, okay, WrestleMania will be a triple threat match. And you could have inserted LA Knight or whatever. But now it just feels like it's too convoluted. So it'll be Drew versus the winner of that match, probably. And that'll be that. But Drew just won that title. Like this is the second time in recent memory where if they take that title off of him, yeah, it's quicker or it's longer than his WrestleMania title run where Damian Priest cast in on him. But like again, if I'm Damian or if I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this was a couple months that they let me win on a SmackDown. And then now they're having me lose to LA Knight or whoever at WrestleMania. Yeah, it's a big moment, but like at the end of the day, if I'm Drew McIntyre, I'm like, well, what about me? Like, what happens to me now? So I just, yeah, I think we talked about this too. Like, it's crazy to me the amount of stars that there are, but it feels like they're just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You look at somebody like Matt Cardona, who just came off of a big ACW title run, obviously, and they bring him into WWE. And I don't know if he thought like immediately he'd be like a champion or what, but like almost already like he's lost in the sauce of WWE. Like, yeah, they're talking about him a little bit more, but he's not like a featured major player right now.
No, that's just shifting to that, and I want to take another step back though, with like LA Knight thing, to where I'm going back to that unscripted or whatever Unreal TV show, to where like Triple H was pissed that he ruined that Money in the Bank spot, to where he was like, that match was designed for you to be winning in it, right? So I feel like they want to pull the trigger to see an LA Knight championship reign. So I feel like him going into Mania, him winning at Elimination Chamber or however he gets there, I think at the end of the day, when you walk out of WrestleMania, I think we're going to see an LA Knight title reign. Just kind of freshen things up, whether Cody's in it, Jacob Fatu doesn't need to be in, they can have their own programs, I guess, on the side, but how do we get there? I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of the writing that's been on the wall for the last few months, to where they're kind of inching towards closer to giving LA Knight his moment, and let's see what he can do with it, kind of a thing, to where anything could happen. That could change tomorrow, right? Who knows what's gonna go on with that. I'm trying to think. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying another thing that's like frustrating to me, and again, like I'm just gonna be honest. I've said this before. Like I love wrestling. Like I don't have. This is all just question marks and what ifs and whatever.
Yep.
But like for example, Gunther, right? So if Gunther, like just from the transitive property alone, if Gunther retired John Cena, if Gunther retired AJ Styles, and both of those people have beat Punk and Drew and all that stuff, then why would Gunther not be the logical person to be the champion, right? Like, so he has not only has he beaten top stars, he has retired top stars, and now it's like we put him in the Rumble, he gets thrown out of the Rumble. So what do we have Gunther doing? Like, is he going against Brock Lesnar? Is he going to retire Brock Lesnar? Does he have a match at Mania? Like, it just feels like there's a like that table, that writers table at WWE feels like a bunch of people that are just like, I got an idea. What if this happened? And I got an idea. What if this happened? But there's no like follow through as to like it's almost like whenever I'm not a parent, but I'm assuming it's like this. Like whenever you like when I used to teach, right? So like you ask a question, all the hands go up, and by the time you've called on like the fourth person, the kid's just putting their hand up because they want to be called on, and then you're like, oh, what do you got? And they're like, I forgot. Like that's what it feels like.
Yep.
It's like you started all these stories, and then now what? Now you just have a bunch of unfinished. Like we still don't know who was behind GTV. You know,
That's where we are today. Yep.
I am
We
still
won't let them forget about it either.
yeah, yeah,
No, man, I hear you because like trying to come up with all these stories every week and trying to like keep it going, and then like once you have like a really good story going, and then all of a sudden your main player is injured and you get out, and now you're like, okay, crap. Now how do we get off of that story to get down to these guys? So, I think spoiler alert, we could see a Gunther versus a Y2J at Mania, where Y2J beats it. It could be a surprise match kind of a
yep,
thing to where he's beating all these legends. Give me somebody, and you get Y2J. And then he can start a little feud with him over the next few months or whatever. But that's just speculating. That's what we're doing,
sure,
guys. We're speculating. No, man, because that's it. As a fan, we hype ourselves to like, oh, what if it was this? And it's like sometimes we really think our ideas, are better than what we're getting. And then when that doesn't happen, then you're like,
sure,
screw this. They don't know anything.
yeah,
But no, man, it's tough. It's tough, especially with all the injuries going on. And how this whole road will shape up. I would love to say we are in the early stages of this road. We are in the early stages, and anything can happen. But I feel like if I already paid that $5,000 to go to Mania, I wish I kind of had more confidence knowing that I'm going into something that's going to be a little bit more in place, I guess. But this is wrestling.
well, well,
Changes
let
day by
me
day.
let me say something that won't cost you 5 grand,
Yeah,
and that is ACW. We talked a little bit about it last week, and I know that
yeah, man.
you are well aware of the upcoming show in March. Um, but again, talk a little bit about missed opportunities. Look at the way the card for ACW is shaping up, and you have one of the probably again, and it's funny we've said this before, but a like I feel like there's some cliches in wrestling, like the dream match and like never before and all that. But Richard Holiday versus Mike Santana versus Karrion Cross, a triple threat with real stakes, the championships on the line, like that to me is a match that is worthy of a main event. And to my knowledge, if you get on thisisacw.com right now, you are not going to see a $5,000 ticket. Now, I could be wrong. They may have changed something, but this is what we've got coming up in a little over a month and a half or so.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, when you think about it too, because like things have changed. And I think once this was first announced, it was Killer Cross versus Richard Holiday versus Mike Santana. A few days after that, Mike Santana became the TNA World Champion. And then a few days ago from here, Killer Cross became the MLW World Heavyweight Champion. So now this match, once again, as cool things can happen in pro wrestling, especially right in our backyard, you have the ACW Heavyweight Champion Richard Holiday now taking on the MLW World Heavyweight Champion Killer Cross, taking on the TNA World Champion Mike Santana. So you get three champions going at it for the ACW Heavyweight Championship. Anything can happen, man. This is one Killer Cross, Mike Santana most marketable match that you can have in Poughkeepsie. And guys, man, don't sleep on this, because not only that, you think that match is crazy. The Hardys are coming to town for another explosive match. This is going to be a fatal four-way match, because not only do you have the TNA World Tag Team Champions, the Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy, taking on the ACW Heavyweight Champions, the now Vic Delicious and Hale Collins, taking on the Righteous, current TNA signings, and Sent to Slaughter with Josh Chernoff. Anything could happen, man. Another match that's going to headline the night on March 14th. Four of the greatest tag teams going today in one place, man. And you think a triple threat is hard enough for Richard Holiday to retain it. Now you're looking at this fatal four-way for the Now to
Yeah,
retain their championships, and that's going to be, I don't know, out of both of these matches, anybody can walk out of this match as a double champion, a new champion, or a two-time champion. So uh, man, it's exciting because I love when you see the card that you're going to a month before and like like what you're gonna get, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, oh, we don't know the card for WrestleMania, but at least we know, you're getting like WWE value money for your, for coming over here and seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $5,000 to go see a show, but the money that I am paying, you're getting like a WWE-esque show. Maybe I could say, dare I say, a little bit better than some WWE shows that they run around here. But man, I think that at the end of the day, I want to bring my family, I want to bring my kids, and I don't want to like second mortgage. I don't want to open
Yeah.
up a credit card just to go to a show for this and then have to pay it off for like 3 years. So, no, man,
It
just those
really,
2 matches alone.
yeah, it really is. It's something, and I've talked about this too. I feel like it's you almost have to have a different word for it because I think sometimes um independent wrestling has, I don't want to say like a negative connotation, but like it kind of has in the past seemed like, well, it's not like the big league, right? Like I'm going to go to a VFW hall and watch wrestling or whatever, but like this is a major a building, the MJN Center. Like you and I have watched countless things there. We went and saw comedians there. Like it's no small arena. It sells out every time. The quality of the show itself, and like I said, I can see it. You will be surprised by the if it's your first time at an ACW show. It feels like any time that you have been to a really high quality house show, if not better. And the caliber of talent, from top to bottom of the card is just there. And I know something that's really special because ACW understands what the fans are wanting. There is a meet and greet prior to that event, and they're opening the doors. If I'm correct me on this if I'm wrong, but they're opening the doors even earlier to account for all the Hardy fans that will be there on that day.
No, for sure. And we have two fans watching us right now, Evelyn and Caitlin. I know you're
Okay.
watching out there, so shout out to them. They know where they are right now because I know that they know where I know where they are watching this, and
Yeah.
they're two of the biggest ACW fans I know. But Jonathan, man, on top of all these prices and whatnot, even Scarlett Boudreaux was also announced that she will be with Killer Cross.
Yep.
As I'm looking at some of this card, man, also recently, there's a 6-man cruiserweight carnage match where it's going to have Jordan Oliver take on the returning GKM versus Leo Sparrow, Sidney Arakim, Anthony Green, and Liamo. For people out there who are like, why is it called the Cruiserweight Carnage match? It's inspired by the Reckless No Limit style pioneered by the Carnage crew, Loke and DeVito. This match pays tribute to the chaos that helped shape ECW in the early days of Ring of Honor. So this match is built for nonstop action and all-out impact. These names that I listed right now, man, these are some of the best names in our area and around. Some of these guys are signed, have been signed, could be signed any day now. So
Yep.
there's a lot of talent in this match alone. So just another match added on top of an already stacked night for everybody on March 14th, Jonathan. We also have the national championship. We got Wrecking Ball, America's favorite, Wrecking Ball versus Zach Clayton
Yep.
from the Jersey Shore. So he's the new national champion. They're going to have a national championship match. On top of that, Jonathan, as I'm going down this, there is going to be a summit for peace involving Crowbar and cosplayer the Macho Verse.
About
Over the
time.
past over the past 2 months, there's been some, Crowbar threw him over the railing. The last show, the Macho Verse slapped him in the head with a Slim Jim. A little bit of animosity going on, a little bit
Yep.
of craziness and hecticness. So there's a summit for peace. I don't know what's going to happen in this, man, but they're going to try to come together and see if they can work something out. And in the world of pro wrestling, anything can happen. Especially with this match. It's not
I
even a
was gonna
match. It's just a
say,
summit. So I don't even know what's going to
yeah,
go on with that.
I was gonna say that if we've learned anything, weddings in pro wrestling always go well. The summits for peace always go well. Contract signings, there's never anything bad that happens. So I would assume that this one's gonna be just like that. They're gonna shake hands, they're gonna walk away. It's gonna be
you
perfect.
know, A summit for peace. That's what it has to end on.
That's what
You know, and also too, for fans who haven't seen him in quite a while, he's now the CMLL World Historic Middleweight Champion. That's Flip Gordon. He'll be taking on EC3, the top 1%. I think this is the first time in 2 years or so that Flip's hasn't been in the Northeast. So, guys, if you haven't seen him live, you can see him on March 14th, man. And you know, at the end of the day, if you guys want to check it out, this is acw.com. Don't wait to get tickets because this will sell out and it could sell out any day. So if you're waiting, I'll get them at the door that day, you might not be able to. And that's the one thing I have to remind fans out there, because our town, a lot of people, it's not like MSG. It's like, it's not going to sell out. It's my hometown arena. I'm going to go. We'll be fine. No, man. Listen, you wait till the last day, thinking you're going to get tickets. You might not get tickets.
Get them
Take
while you
that
can.
advice. Take that advice now, because you want to get tickets and get them as fast as you can. Jonathan, you'll be there. I'll be there, of course. It's going to be one hell of a night, and we'll talk more about it. I think we're going to have to break down over the next few weeks. We'll break down these matches more and kind of talk about these guys a little bit. Maybe we'll get them on our show. We'll have them call in or whatnot. We'll see what we can do. But no, man, it's an exciting time. 2026.
Sure.
It's a great start, man. So we're on the way to WrestleMania. We got to pass the Elimination Chamber first, and we got to get through Aftershock for ACW. But man, I'm happy. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan, right?
Absolutely. And you know, keep listening, keep watching us. There's you'll never know where we're gonna pop up or what we're gonna be up to, but we're just a couple guys who like wrestling. So, you know, join us, share it, you know, like, follow, comment, whatever you young people do these days.
That's it, man. We're on our way to 300 episodes. Jonathan, for the 300th episode, we'll have to do something big. Maybe go to like a Pizza Hut or something. I don't know. Well, we got to do something outside the norm. We'll try to make it special for everybody out there. But guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. All right.
Yeah.
All righty, guys.